prepare to race onto the field. Everything is riding on this football game. So there's a special intensity, a special urgency. Here come the Volunteers. Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley.
My name's Indy Kid.
It's almost comical, man. Almost all I can do is laugh at this point. It's a sad day for human beings. It is a sad day for humans at watching the end of that game unfold. And let me just kick things off by saying this. I am in no way, shape, or form condoning the actions of Neyland Stadium tonight. But as a commentator, as a broadcaster, your job is to call the football game. You're an absolute idiot if you think that piss and vinegar came from the spot on 4th and 24. That is not – you're talking about Lane Kiffin and his smart aleck remarks, Lane Kiffin and his smug attitude. You're talking about 60 minutes of piss poor officiating. You're talking about the entire second half of Lane Kiffin's team laying down on the field, stopping any momentum that Tennessee got going with their up-tempo offense. The entire second half. That's where that came from. That was over an hour and a half of pissed off Vol fans lashing out. And again, I'm not condoning it. I'm not agreeing with it. But you're an idiot if you think that all came from the spot on 4th and 23. Indy Kid, opening thoughts, agree, disagree?
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. You got the scoop and take back for 6, where there has still not been a whistle blown on that play. That was just the start of it. Like you said, the injury, that was an embarrassment for college football tonight. That was an absolute embarrassment for college football. They have got to do something to fix that. Tennessee did it some too. And, the bad thing about it is, it's like the announcer said, at what point is it cry wolf? There's a guy out here probably legitimately injured who they faked it so much you don't know. But, yeah, the refs were horrible. They were absolutely horrible. And, no, you can't condone that behavior. It sucked. It was embarrassing. But like you said, it stemmed from – it wasn't because the spot was good, actually, because I thought Warren had it in his right hand initially, and then when I saw it, it was in his left hand. It was a good spot. But just horrible night for the officials. And that scooping – Matt Corral quit on the play. There was no progress to it. It happened very quick. That's a fumble recovery for 6 points that got taken off the board.
Yep.
Horrible.
It makes no sense how you validate that by saying forward momentum was stopped, but you never blew a whistle. You never blew a whistle, and the referee that was on top of it actually stood back, followed the play all the way to the end zone. Never blew his whistle. They let it play out. I don't understand how you call that back. But it was all night long. Piss poor officiating. Tennessee was held all night long. Spots were terrible all night long. Like I said, Tennessee lashing out at the end of the game. And, yeah, it's a bad look. It's a bad look, especially when you got all these kids on campus for visits. It's just not good. ESPN is going to have a field day with this over the coming weeks. You know they love when Tennessee acts like this, when they do things like this. We got a lot of people hanging out, over 400 people already in the live chat. Do us a favor. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Hit it early, hit it often. If you got 2 accounts, hit it twice. And I won't have to say it again. If you guys get that thumbs up over 300-400 bright and early, myself and the Indy Kid will just go live all night long. Take your questions, hang out. Somebody's hitting the thumbs down. They're already pissed off. They're already blaming Boogie for the loss. Yeah, keep hitting those thumbs down. We're up to 5. What you idiots don't realize, whether you hit the thumbs up or you hit the thumbs down, you're helping the channel. So as long as you hate us or you love us, we don't really care. Let's get into these super chats. We got a lot of people wanting their voice to be heard tonight. Guys, we usually do an hour. This was a big-time game, big-time atmosphere, big-time opportunity for this football program. Myself and the Indy Kid, we may take you guys to Sunrise. We'll have to see how it plays out. Troy Sharp for 2. Thank you for the super chat. Says, leave the SEC. They hate UT. This, I don't know if it's a UT deal, Indy Kid. This officiating crew they've already been brought in to the principal's office once this season for the Mississippi State game. So going into the game, you knew it was not going to be a good officiating crew. So I don't know if it's a UT thing or just piss poor officiating.
Yeah, it's just the conference. It's just the conference. It definitely didn't go UT's way tonight. And in a game that's close like this, a call like taking a fumble recovery for a touchdown off the board hurts. But, let's make no mistake about it. Tennessee, there's going to be a lot to discuss.
Yeah, we're going to get into
about Tennessee tonight, too.
Yeah,
we're
going to point some fingers at
numerous things. But the officials let that game get out of hand tonight. And what Tennessee, all this throwing on the field was embarrassing. You can blame it on the officials for letting it get out of hand and getting to that point. Because, like I said, if it's one call on the spot, people may be upset about it. That was the culmination. And again, we're not condoning it. That was a culmination of a very piss-poor game of officiating tonight.
It's like rec league basketball. You miss one call, nobody cares. If you're inconsistent the whole game, by the time you get to the fourth quarter, it is a disaster of parents and grandparents screaming at you. And that's what we saw tonight. Cody Branch for 5. Thank you, Cody, for the super chat. Says, just wow in every facet. This was pathetic, from the refs to the coordinators to the damn fans. Guys running quarterbacks are getting old. Yeah, we're going to get into that. Obviously, we're going to talk about Matt Corral. Let me get caught up here. There's so many super chats. We appreciate the support. I want to hit them all and try to stay on top of them tonight here. Bear with me. Have we already ran off the screen here? Bear with me here. Sorry, guys. There's so many chats coming in. I'm going to have to go out of StreamYard and get caught up. Give me just 1 second. I don't want to miss any of your comments. We appreciate you guys coming in. I knew it was going to be a hot live chat tonight. A lot to discuss. We're going to get into it. We want to get your comments, and we're going to go into some of our own commentary as well. Again, sorry. Give me just a second here. Switching out. It's the world of YouTube. Why, Indy Kid, why do things never work out the way I want them to? Why is everything a disaster when you're trying to host a show? You're trying to do a YouTube show. It's always a disaster. All right, here we are. MC3V1 for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Says, fans were completely justified in what they did. SEC should be handing fines out for flopping, and if they fine us for our actions, so be it. Let's comment on that a little bit, because Ole Miss, the second half, do you really feel like Tennessee was doing it a lot on defense? I felt like Tennessee was kind of doing it on offense, which wouldn't make sense if you're trying to play the system and it was very clear what Ole Miss was doing. The same guy went down about 3 times, clearly jogged off the field, came back in. I think the fix is, if you go down, Indy Kid, I don't know if maybe you sit out that entire series, you sit out 5 to 6 plays. They got to do something. It's got to be more than one play. That's how you put a stop to this, because if college football is changing and up-tempo, fast-paced offense is going to be the new thing, you got to put a fix in for this, because it's happening all over the country.
You're going to ruin the game if they're going to allow this to happen. And this is not the first time it's happened tonight. I know Travis, the Arkansas fan, was in here. Ole Miss did it against Arkansas last week too. Got to do something about it. Maybe sit out the rest of the series. It sucks because, it's a violent sport. It's a brutal sport. Guys get injured, but so was embarrassed. There were so many embarrassing things tonight, from the faking injuries to the crowd. It was like the NWO forming all over again at the end.
That's an underrated comment. I love it.
Yeah, it's just like, They got to
hold on,
fix. There has to be something. I don't know if it's a 15-yard penalty and then sportsmanlike conduct. They've somehow got to, but I don't really know how you enforce that though. How you actually prove that it's a flop. I don't know. It's a tough one, but they got to do something.
That comment's spot on. Kiffin's going to have that. He's going to have that golf ball in his pocket at the press conference. He's going to eat it up. He's going to love every bit of it. Let me get caught up on the super chats, guys. We appreciate the support. A lot of them coming in. We want to get your comments, and then we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna go through it. We'll myself and Andy Kid will stay live all night if you guys want. Well, we're gonna unpack all of this, but we want to get your comments as well. Jake Dorak for 5 says Harrison Bailey would have threw it. Jake Dorak, longtime listener, longtime Harrison Bailey supporter. To be honest, Jake, we said that right before we went live. Joe Milton comes in, and look, to defend Joe Milton, that's a tough situation, right? You come in, you're cold. It's the end of the game. It's on your shoulders, but you got to know better, right? Any kid, you got to throw the ball there. We were legitimately talking about it right before we went live, and any kid said he was shocked, and I'm like, I just kind of expected it. When he rolled out of the pocket, I said he's gonna run. He's gonna run. But the frustrating part that we were talking about is the fact that he just kind of petered out and ran out of bounds. Didn't try to cut back. Didn't try to make a play happen. So yeah, Jake, we actually agree with you there, and it's going to be interesting to see how this week plays out. If Hendon Hooker is injured and can't give it a go, does Josh Heupel go right back to Joe Milton? We'll see. Power T for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Says it felt like the 90s again in the stadium tonight. The boys fall hard, and it was good to see that the fans are behind the team. I would agree with that. I like the energy. The crowd never quit. The team never quit. We went toe-to-toe, had an opportunity to beat a top 15 team down the stretch. The unfortunate part is it's frustrating because we've been here, done that. Travis Adair for 5. Thank you, Travis, for the super chat. Arkansas fan. Love talking baseball with this dude, but he's showing up here a little bit during football season as well. He says, hey, Arkansas had the same problem last week with the fake injuries. We still dropped 51 on their A-star. Well, I don't know what that means. I don't know what A-star means, but I feel your pain. Cody Branch for 2. Thank you, Cody. Says, at what point do these refs get held accountable? Well, like I said at the beginning of the show there, these referees were in the SEC office after the Mississippi State game. But nothing changes. It's the same old song and dance. Dylan Robertson for 5. Thank you for the super chat. It was definitely bad what the fans did, but that probably gave them a chance to actually get the ball back and almost won the game. Neyland Stadium was full of piss and vinegar all night long. But when they basically ejected the student section, when the student section weren't the ones throwing all the water bottles, you just fired up the crowd even more. Yeah, the defense got a stand, had an opportunity, and just didn't capitalize there late. Pecan for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Worst game I ever watched. Ref straight trash. Our defense not spying the quarterback. The injury BS made so effing mad. I'm embarrassed. End of game was no words. Daniel Gregory for 2. Thank you, Daniel, for the super chat. Says, what is Milton doing? Zero awareness. That's exactly what I said, Daniel. It was a lack of awareness. Any kid, going back to Pecan's super chat there, talking about the defense not spying Matt Corral. I don't agree with that. I felt like there were a lot of plays that Jeremy Banks was spying Matt Corral, but Jeremy Banks kind of chose to sit back on his heels. He let an offensive lineman get his hands on him, and Matt Corral made him pay. Matt Corral sat back, let that lineman get the block, and took off.
I think Banks and Beasley both spotted him at times. I don't think they spotted him enough. But those two guys they bit a lot of times too. They would bite on a fake. They would bite on motion. Both of them did a pretty poor job of spying. It's a tough job. That was a very tough job that they had, but I just, gosh, that's a hard one to really comment on, but I don't think they spied as much as they should have, but when they did, it was like neither guy could handle it either.
Yeah, this was not a good game for Jeremy Banks. And I think that Jeremy Banks has played good this season. I think Beasley's played good this season. But I think it's one of those things. How do you stop the Heisman Trophy front runner? How do you find a way to stop him? Like, at a certain point, you got to give the kid his due, right? Matt Corral's a great football player. He made great plays. I would love to see the statistics. I don't know. I'm looking at it here. Ole Miss was 11 of 21 on third down. I would love to see how many of those 11 conversions came off of the feet of Matt Corral, because I would say it was the majority.
The kid they hit a couple swing passes, but majority of it was Corral.
And those swing passes, it kind of complimented, right? But it's Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin is a great offensive mind. You swing it out in the flat, and then you go quarterback draw, design quarterback run, or even setting up scrambles. You're just spreading out the defense, and it just made for a long night. But overall, I think Tennessee's defense played good enough to win. They gave this Tennessee offense a chance. Tennessee has the ball, 21-yard line, couple of plays late in the game. Tennessee had an opportunity to win. I'm going to get caught up on some super chat. I'm going to get caught up on some super chats here. I want to talk about Tennessee's play calling, the way they started in the first half. I felt they were very conservative. We were kind of texting back and forth, me, you, and Dauber, who was at the game. That's why he's missing the post-game show here. And basically just saying, why are they not running Hendon Hooker more? They were very conservative. It makes me wonder if he was banged up. Going into the game. Let me say this real quick. We got 800 people watching live. We are glad that you're here. We hope you enjoy the content that we put out. We got 272 thumbs up. Let's crank that up. 800 people. Let's get it to 400. If you guys get it to 400, I'll shut up about it. Or you can hit thumbs down. If you don't like what we do, that's fine too. Hit the thumbs down. But the more interactions we get, the better the channel does. We just appreciate you guys showing up and supporting what we do. Keith Pratt for 5. He just drops a super sticker. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. Power T for 5 says Josh asked for a hostile environment, and we gave it to him all night and then some. I would agree. The environment was amazing. The crowd was, they were loud. I don't know the last time I've heard the crowd making that much noise on TV. I saw at one point Lane Kiffin was trying to talk to Matt Corral while the defense was on the field, and he had to repeat himself 2 to 3 times. The environment was everything you could ask for. I just don't know that the end of the game is a good look in recruiting. Like I said, ESPN's going to have a field day with it. Joel Certain for 10, thank you for the super chat, says going to be tough sledding next couple of weeks. Hope Hooker is okay. Get healthy, come back next week, and keep fighting. I'm still expecting 6 to 7 wins. Plus a bowl game, go Big Orange. Any kid, I'm going to keep rolling through these super chats, but real quick, do you think Tennessee still has a chance to beat Kentucky? Are you feeling 6 wins or 7 wins at this point?
Well, they let a defense not even in the top 100 cause them a lot of problems tonight. Kentucky has a much better defense than Ole Miss. That did not give me a lot of confidence against Kentucky. And something I think is interesting too was when they went conservative last week against South Carolina in the second half. I think it really took them. Number one, I wonder if it gave Ole Miss something to look at
with the tempo.
Yeah, and number two, they kind of didn't recover from that real well, and that's why you don't go conservative in the SEC. You don't do that. And I didn't like it I thought it was odd last week. Yeah, I know they said they just didn't execute. They went conservative. And I thought they were fairly conservative at times tonight. And especially 2 different times they had a chance to take the lead. And I just felt it was conservative. It was like 1st and long, 2nd and long, and they're just running it. When they had been going quick. Of course, they couldn't go quick because Ole Miss would flop. But I don't know. There was some – and Heupel's a great offensive mind. I just thought there were some odd sequences of calling tonight.
Well,
I just don't – I
don't
know. I didn't get it.
Let's go back to a conversation that we had, off-air text messages throughout the game, kind of on this same subject of running the ball up the middle. And first of all, let's say this. Tennessee went toe-to-toe, top 15 team. Cade Mays goes down early. Very unfortunate. He goes down on a play that doesn't even count. They blow the whistle late to review a spot, and Cade Mays gets rolled up and hurt. He was riding the exercise bike on the sideline. Hopefully he's okay. I don't know. But you're without Cooper Mays. You're without Cade Mays. You got Ollie Lane out there. You got walk-on Dane Davis out there. You got Jerome Carvin playing center. You're without your most electric player on offense, Tyon Evans, and you still go toe-to-toe with Ole Miss, top 15 team. But we were talking about the play calling a little bit, in text message, and I now looking back after what I just said, I really do wonder, was Hendon Hooker injured? Was he beat up going into this week? And that would make a whole lot of sense when I'm asking you guys. I'm saying, why is Hendon Hooker not running the ball? They have to run him to open up the offense. But then what do we see? Second half, they start running a little bit more. The offense opens up a little more. They start moving the ball. They start scoring some points. We also see Hendon Hooker hobbling around a lot. And then, of course, he gets carried off at the end. Looked bad. He wasn't putting any weight on that leg. So
he was hurt the series before when he threw that.
Yes.
4th and long, though, to Jacob Warren, because he barely moved on that. He had taken off on that 3rd down, and he was very slow on that, too. I don't think he was hurt coming in because he ran well for a lot of the game. I think toward the end, though, is when I don't know if he wore out. I don't know if he, maybe if he hit his knee, it got turned. I don't know what happened late. I don't know. A part of me thinks he maybe gave out. I mean, he did take some licks tonight. I don't think based on the way they come out of the second half and him running, I don't think he was coming in unless I don't know where he would have been hurt because he didn't really take any licks last week.
It was just interesting to me because I felt like you got Tyon Evans out. Jabari Small, I thought Jabari Small ran the ball hard tonight. Like, I felt like a lot of people were disrespecting him, like looking at Twitter, looking at VolQuest, looking at Facebook throughout the game. I thought he ran the ball well, considering the cards he was dealt. Again, the offensive line being so banged up. 21 carries, 92 yards, 4.4 per carry, and a touchdown. But there wasn't a whole lot there for him, man. There was a lot where he didn't have much to work with, and he made some plays happen. But I just question the play calling in that first half. I think knowing you don't have Tyon Evans, knowing your offensive line is limited, I would think you would want to run Hendon Hooker a little bit more and try to open up the offense. Let me get caught up. Tons of super chats coming in, guys. We're glad that you're with us. Over 800 people watching, close to 400 thumbs up. Some of you love us, some of you hate us. That's all fine and dandy. Let's get it up to 500. We're almost to 400 thumbs up. Takes you 2 seconds. If you enjoy the content, if you enjoy what we do, we try to post a video, sometimes 2 every single day. It's free content. Just help us out. Hit that thumbs up. Dakota Dyer for $10 said, being a UT fan breaks my heart. We play dumb. We do the dumbest things, call the dumbest plays, execute as dumb as anyone, but we're still in the game. I'm baffled at the way we played, hard to watch. That's almost sums up my feelings today, Dakota. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like it started right out of the gate. They faced adversity early. They come out, Lane Kiffin goes for it on 4th down twice on that opening drive, but a holding call sets them back to 4th and 19, finally punts the ball, and what happens? Velus Jones fumbles the fair catch. Ole Miss recovers, and even after that, Tennessee stops the 3rd and 14, but defensive holding. Ole Miss gets a new set of downs. They go down and score. Follow that up. Cade Mays gets injured, and then, any kid, you've already brought it up, the strip fumble. Tyler Barron picks it up, runs back for a touchdown. It's just, I feel like we're cursed at times. Cade for $5. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it. Cade says, Vol fans were literally cheering when Matt Corral went down. Disgraceful. You should be ashamed of yourself, Tennessee fans. He actually was injured, bleeding on his leg. Cade, I'm assuming you're an Ole Miss fan. If you are, congrats on the win. Hats off to you. Matt Corral's a great quarterback. It's like the Indy kid said earlier, when you cry wolf for 30 minutes, when somebody actually gets injured, we're going to boo him off the field. That's what happens. When you have guys limp off the field 4, 5, 6 times in a row and they're perfectly healthy, yeah, we're going to boo your quarterback. That's life. Sorry. Pova1002 for 5. Thank you for the super chat. No defending the actions of the fans. Sorry. Yeah, I don't want you guys to think that I'm condoning it, but I'm just trying to say why it happened. That's all. I in no way, shape, or form would I be in the stands throwing water bottles unless Hulk Hogan just hit the ring and dropped a leg drop on Randy Savage. Then I would probably throw trash in the ring. Philip Scow for 5. Thank you, Philip, for the super chat. Makes me want to throw up knowing these refs got paid $10,000 to $15,000 a piece for these games. Absolute garbage. I hope they get banned even from Pop Warner. Yep, I agree. Joel Certain for 5. Thank you, Joel, for the super chat. Kevin just said, just glad I don't have to dodge any more golf balls. Sign the kid who threw it ASAP. The commentators made a joke about that. I'll take it. Todd Hurley for 2. Refs were horrible, and Kiffin was being Kiffin. Yep, Kiffin is going to Kiffin, always. He's a jerk. Why you love him is why you hate him. Ball 92 for 10. Thank you for the super chat. Evans was missed dearly in this game. Delayed handoffs to Small, who seems to be slowest back on the team. Already takes him 5 seconds to hit the line of scrimmage. Milton starts next week. Hands up, hands up, hands up. We'll talk about that in just a second. Ball 92 with another 5. Not to bash any players, though. I like Jabari Small. He's just simply not that fast. It's funny because Jabari Small was the top running back on the team all throughout camp. Tyon Evans kind of came in and dominated, won that job. Ryan Bray for 5. If you go down, you should only be able to sub that player and should have to sit them at least 4 plays. Seems fair with 4 downs. I'm on board with that, Ryan Bray. I think that's a rule they have to implement ASAP. TK for 20. Big time super chat. Thank you, TK. Says, agree they must do something for injured players to discourage this behavior. The only answer would be that player staying out X plays, possession, etc. I think everybody's on board with that. The SEC has to do something. The NCAA has to do something to fix that. Josh Hodges for 5. Nobody is upset if the only person hit was Kiffin. Maybe. Throwing stuff at the youngins of either team is unacceptable. I don't care what the refs did. I agree with that. But also, did you see the Ole Miss fans taunting, or the Ole Miss players taunting the Tennessee fans as that was going on? If you were scared for your life, you probably shouldn't be waving towels and flagging people down. That's just my opinion. AK Baker for 10. Stop listening to the ESPN broadcast long ago and just listen to the Vols radio broadcast. Not a bad decision, my friend. Tennessee Lawns for 5. I think RD did great against a team that was expected to score 40 plus. It's the offense that only scored 30 against the defense ranked 107th. You're spot on. You are spot on, Tennessee Lawns. Like, this is not like it's on the offense. I'm going to wrap up these super chats. We're going to go talk about that. Fido Productions for $20. That is not cheap. That is not cheap at all. Fake injuries for timeouts. Milton should have thrown the ball. What was there to lose? Agree with that. Travis Adair for 10. Boogie, Indy Kid, have a drink. You need it. Yeah, we do. We do, and we deserve it. Fido Productions for 10. Would have put Bailey in over Milton all day. I'm sure we got some more super chats, but we'll pause there, and then we'll come back and get caught up. Thank you guys for the support. We appreciate it. You guys are being very generous tonight. Like I said, I want your voice to be heard, and then we're going to voice our opinions. Almost 900 people watching. We've not had this many people since the night that Jeremy Pruitt got fired. So I knew this would be a big night. Indy Kid, the hype was up. The momentum was up. Let's talk about that first half, and let's talk about play calling. I know you were disappointed. I was disappointed. What gives? What was going on in that first half? This offense never got clicking.
No, I don't know. It seemed like an odd game plan. I think part of it, though, in the first half was Ole Miss was getting a lot of pressure on Tennessee. Like you mentioned, Cade went out. Tennessee had trouble running it, which they like to do to set up, and then Hooker just did not have time. And then I texted at one point Dauber, since he was there in our group chats, like, hey, what's going on here? And it seemed like it was a combination of Hooker wasn't reading right, he was holding on to the ball too long, and sometimes he just didn't have time. But just didn't – I don't know. I didn't like the game plan coming in. Again, maybe that was influenced by the offensive line injuries. This team is extremely thin on the offensive line, and I think we underestimate how big of a deal that is when they lose somebody on that starting five. I mean, you're already down Cooper May. I thought he was going to be back, according to what Heupel said, but obviously not. And then losing Cade Mays too. That was just hard to overcome, and they adjusted, but they it was a rough first half for them, and it could have been worse. I mean, the defense was kind of bend don't break at times, but I think that drive at the end of the first half gave them some momentum, and they looked a lot better in the second half, but then, which I know we're talking about the first half, but then I don't know. There was some just weird play calling at times tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about the whole game. You don't have to just divide it up by half. Looking at that second half, man, I felt like the momentum, like you said, getting the field goal at the end of the second quarter, knowing you're getting the ball back, at least you got some points. You're down 12 going into the half. Didn't really feel good about it. That's the thing, man. At halftime, I was like, I don't feel good about this game at all. But Tennessee was down 12, and the way they score, and they score fast, I'm thinking they go out and score on this first possession of the second half, they're going to have an opportunity, and that's exactly what they did. They went right down the field. I felt like they started throwing the ball around a little bit. I felt like they didn't really do that in the first half. They seemed very conservative in the first half when we've praised this offense for being aggressive and going for the throat. I felt like they came out second half. They had a couple of throws to Tillman there on the drive. And then it was 3rd and 11. I'm looking here at my notes. Third and 11, they get a free play. Ole Miss jumps off sides, and 29-yard pass to Bayless Jones down to the goal line. Small punches it in. And now it's 24-19, and you're starting to think, all right, Tennessee has a chance to go and win this football game. I just don't get the conservative play calling in the first half. And I don't know, man. It seems like they've connected on the deep ball early in the games they've had success. The South Carolina game, the Missouri game. It's like they took shots early and they connected, and then it was just like you got the ball rolling and you put on more steam. Versus this game, they come out, they go play action deep to Peyton. They don't complete it. They hit Jones on a slant, and they're punting. They go 3 and out that first drive, and you come out the second drive. And it's kind of the same deal. You go deep to Peyton, you don't connect. 2nd and 10, what do? Small up the middle. Nothing there. And then you try to go deep again. Hooker gets pressured, overthrow. You're looking at 4th and 9, and it's another punt. Your first 2 drives, you try to take shots, you don't connect, and then it seems they go conservative from there and start a heavy dose of Jabari Small. And I just feel like the offense. Do you think it's scripted plays? Like, I don't know. I'm thinking out loud here as I kind of go through this, looking at my notes. Do you think it's when the scripted plays work, they go down the field and score, but then when it doesn't, they kind of get through those first couple of drives, and then it's kind of like scramble mode?
I think you definitely script coming out of the gate, but you probably script a few plays. I don't think you script a ton of them, but you got to give credit to Ole Miss's defense too. A defense that wasn't even top 100, top 100. They played a good game tonight. They caused Tennessee some issues. Again, Tennessee's offensive line being down the Mays brothers was big. Made a big difference. Not having Tyon Evans was a big deal. Apparently Whitehead must have gotten hurt too, because I know his helmet come off and he never came back in, because I was surprised to see Pierce in. But, he mentioned kind of conservative in the first half, but then in the second half, I felt they were moving the ball. had a chance to take the lead, and then all of a sudden they get a penalty, it backs them up, and then they run a couple of runs. I didn't get that. I just didn't get it. And I don't know if it's a case of maybe Tennessee didn't feel comfortable getting in just an all-out shootout. I don't know if all the flops just threw them off of their game. A lot of weird stuff in that. But
let me say something real quick. Sorry to cut you off, Indy Kid. Apparently there are a ton of trolls in the chat. People are complaining about what's going on in the chat. So I've added a couple of moderators. I get it. The channel is growing like wildfire, and it makes it hard. Myself and the Indy Kid can't monitor the chat and carry on a conversation. So I've added Lucas Sharp. I've added, who else did I add? I added a couple of guys. You'll see a wrench beside your name. I've added you as a moderator. Guys, look, if you're a moderator, do me a favor. If somebody is disagreeing with you, if somebody is arguing with you, somebody's mad at you, do not ban them. If I find out one of our wrenches in the chat is banning people just because you disagree, you're going to be blocked from the channel. Matt Begley, you're a moderator. I gave you a wrench just now. You're going to be blocked, moderators. You don't take away people that are super chatting us. Don't take away legitimate fans. All opinions are welcome. If there is a troll or somebody of another fan base that's insulting people, that's it. Don't insult people. Keep it civil. I don't care if you're a Ole Miss fan, you're welcome. Alabama fans, welcome. All fan bases, welcome. So only ban people that are being trolls or attacking other people. Mods, please follow those simple rules. Sorry I had to do that. I knew it was going to be a big show tonight, and I thought this might be a problem. Let me hit these super chats. And we'll keep rocking and rolling. Indy Kid, where were you at there? Sorry, I cut you off to lecture people.
No, just I was kind of finished my thought. Just a lot of weird moments tonight with the play calling, and but I like it. I still like this staff. There's one guy on this staff, and I thought this was going to be the guy, my favorite, that needs to start earning his money. That's Mike Eckler. Yep. His special teams units have sucked for 4 straight games. And I know he's a good coach. I know he's got that fire in him. But he needs to get his unit in gear. Big drop by Velus Jones. I know players make plays, blah, blah, blah. But bottom line is the special teams units have not gotten the job done for 4 straight weeks now. And Velus muffed the punt and then missed another field goal tonight. And instead of Joe Milton having to pull a bonehead move and take off running and then run out of bounds at the 5-yard line, Tennessee's got a chance to kick a field goal to tie that ball game. Of course, Ole Miss missed a field goal as well, but still yet. It's McGrath is in the Florida game, and the Ole Miss game now has missed big field goals that were momentum changers. That special teams unit has got to be better.
Also, mods, everybody that I just gave a wrench, Alan V. Troll Patrol, that's Uncle Alan. He's off limits. You cannot ban him no matter what he says to anybody. Alan's got a free pass. He's a Georgia fan. I hate Georgia, but I love Alan. He can say whatever he wants to anybody that he wants. Do not ban Alan. All opinions are welcome from Uncle Alan. Power T for 5 says this game pushed the SEC East I think was what he meant. The SEC East on notice. We're coming. That's something we got to get into also. This is year 1, and this team is very, very, very low when it comes to depth. What Josh Heupel is doing, our fan base bought in. We're playing a top 15 team tonight. We bought in. This team went out and they performed and gave us a chance. That's what people have to realize. The things that we're saying, the things that we're criticizing, we're just being fans and pointing out things. But the bottom line is an under-talented team went out and went toe-to-toe with a top 15 program, and I think the future is bright. I think we have our head coach. Fido Productions for 5. If I had that golf ball, I would have nailed Kiffin right in the sniffer. I love it, Fido. Maybe we'll send you a golf ball for next week. The real Stevie J for 10. Thank you for that generous super chat. Just glad to see our fans trying to help them with their hydration issues. That's a good point. That's a good point. They were going down for cramps, just trying to give them some water. That's it. Brucus for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Once again, UT fans being selfish, feel bad for our players. They weren't throwing anything, and it makes them look bad. That's my concern is how does it look to recruiting and to recruits' parents? Yeah, it's not a good look. It's a sad day for humans. Ball 92 for 5. Not saying it was a good look, but let's not forget the Tennessee Ole Miss basketball game where Ole Miss fans tossed trash all over the floor. Indie Kid comment on that. I don't know what he's talking about.
No, I don't remember that one.
Philip Bowman for 10. Thank you. That is very generous of you. We just went head-to-head with the top 15 team and had an opportunity to win in year 1 of Heupel with half our players transferring out. Things are looking good for what we have. Great point, Philip. I agree. And not only the players that transferred out, the players that are banged up and injured. You know, like we talked about, both Mays brothers, your 2 best offensive linemen and your star running back on the sideline this week. The real Stevie J for $20. That ain't cheap. New coach, new staff, new players. I ain't mad at them at all. We're going in the right direction. That is spot on. I hope this fan base, the fact that we have 800 people watching this live stream right now, I hope this fan base stays energetic. This week has been fun. It's been fun on this channel. It's been fun to put out videos, do live streams, and have you guys here interacting with us. I hope this fan base stays hot throughout the next few weeks. Fido Productions for 5. Thank you, sir, for the super chat. That fumble in the first half should have been a touchdown. We touched on that. We agree. Dustin Sellers for 10. Enjoyed talking to you in the pregame show. Says lots of reasons it didn't go our way. The dead ball fumble and the call at the end, all the flops, but still had chances to win. Ole Miss had a good D plan along with our injuries added up. Yeah, you got to give credit to Ole Miss. They played a good football. They played a good football game. You know, a team that has one of the worst defenses in the country shut down this offense that's been clicking up to this point. Power T for 5. We're on our way, boys. Proud of everyone tonight, fan base, coaching staff, and the team. Thank you, Power T. Zachary Qualls for 5. Bayless lost confidence after the muff and started fair catching. Sad to see a coach not pick him up. Indy Kid, your thoughts on that? Because you were kind of talking about Coach Eckler and his chili being hot, but his special teams unit kind of underperforming. I think we've seen Bayless Jones kind of lose confidence multiple times in the return game, punt returns and kick returns. You know, there's been a lot of times he's called fair catch around the 5-yard line on kickoffs instead of, you know, this is a guy that transferred in from USC. We heard about how good he was in the return game, and that's where we really thought his impact was going to be made. He's caught a lot of fair catches inside, you know, around the 5-yard line on kickoff returns.
Devil's advocate. He had a big return when it counted at the end, though.
Sure did.
I mean, that was big, but that was big in the first half. But he's been fine. I've kind of watched him a little bit on kick returns. I don't know why they're not getting outside more. Maybe there's somebody I'm not seeing on it. I feel he cuts it in. I feel he's been fine. I mean, that's really the first error he's made on it tonight. But, I mean, he gave him a chance late. He definitely did. But, you know, it's I knew I saw a comment, and we don't have time. Just make sure you listen to what I'm saying, guys, before you tell. I know that it's not Eckler's fault that Jones dropped the punt, nor McGrath missed the field goal. But what I said with his units have been underperforming for 4 straight weeks. Now, they've got to clean that aspect of their game up. That's what I said on it. And, yes, players make plays, coaches coach. But still yet, that unit's got to be better.
Try to look through my notes here, see where we want to go. A lot of people talking about Matt Corral and the plays, you know, the plays he made with his feet. We kind of touched on that earlier. Ole Miss, what did we say? 11 for 21 on 3rd down. A lot of those coming off Matt Corral's legs. I don't know what the defense could have really done differently. I felt like I thought the defense played well, particularly the secondary. I thought the secondary played well. You know, Alontae Taylor got burnt on the slant and go. Obviously, I mean, it was right there. You could see it. Easy to criticize that. Overall, though, a lot of the night when Matt Corral dropped back to throw, the secondary had good coverage, and then he just made plays with his feet. Let me pull it up. What did his line end up? 21 of 38, 231 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. And talking about Tennessee's run defense, Henry Parrish Jr., 10 carries, 41 yards. Jared Connor, 15 carries for 24 yards. That's 1.6 yards per carry. Ely had 7 carries, 19 yards. Tennessee absolutely shuts down the running game other than the quarterback. But what can you do? Because I know we talked about it earlier, but I truly believe that Tim Banks was spying Matt Corral, and Jeremy Banks and Aaron Beasley just weren't able to make the plays. What can you do? What could you have schemed up differently to stop Corral from running the football? I don't know.
I don't either. Not unless you put a couple defensive backs in at linebacker. That's just thinking out loud. I mean, maybe you could have brought I don't know if Christian Charles was healthy tonight or not. He's a speedster.
No, he was out.
Okay.
But you bring up an interesting point, though, because somebody said that on VolQuest. At what point do you move Theo Jackson to linebacker, and his sole responsibility is spying Corral and put Turnage in? I don't know how much run Turnage got tonight, and that's disappointing. I feel like that is the defensive staff dropping the ball, not getting those guys on the field together.
I noticed Haddon in quite a bit tonight because Burrell went out at one point. I don't know if he came back in, but I noticed Haddon out there numerous times. That's really the first time I've noticed him out there this year. So I don't know if I thought I saw Turnage out there at one point, but I'm not sure beyond that. But going back to it, that's really the only alternative I would think is you, like I said, Theo Jackson, and I would even probably move one more. I think I would almost spy 2, and I wonder if they didn't do that at times, but those guys just couldn't.
Looked like a couple times.
I felt there was
Banks
a time or two that they kind of. Well, I felt there was a time or two they kind of waited, and then they saw him coming, but they broke the wrong way, and then he just cut back and left him sitting.
Seemed like every time. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say it's a tough guy to defend.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. It's easy to say, why aren't you spying Corral? Why aren't you stopping Corral? Why aren't you? Because he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country, if not the best. That's why. Sometimes you just got to give the guy credit where credit's due. But you're right. I think there were times that Banks and Beasley both spied. But the one that ate me up was there were so many times that I felt like when you're watching the play unfold, Banks is just kind of sitting there, right? And you know he's spying because he drops back and he is watching the quarterback, but he kind of sat back on his heels and it was majority of the time it was the center just kind of blast out. And once a 300-pound center gets his hands on Jeremy Banks, it's over.
It's over.
You cannot wait. You either have to attack him or you got to get thin and get around him. You got to do something. And like you said, a lot of times when they did try to do that and they tried to pick a side, crowd just sat back and waited, man. It's easy. It is easy when you have the athletic ability of Corral and you've got a center. Just be patient, man. They spread Tennessee out wide. They run the quarterback, and it's one-on-one, center versus Banks, one-on-one. All Corral has to do is be patient and choose a side, and that's where he was picking up so many yards. Calvin Corum says, yeah, secondary played well. I thought they did too. I really thought that the secondary played well tonight. I thought they did a good job. And Corral just made him pay with his feet. You know, when the secondary was good in coverage, Corral made him pay. Let me get caught up on some more super chats here. Where are we? Craig Mills drops $10. Doesn't have anything to say. Just throws a $10 tip in the old tip jar. We appreciate it, Craig. Robbie S. for $5. The team played out of their mind. The fans throwing the crap on the field was stupid, especially with recruits watching. Hit the like button. Thanks, Robbie. Thanks for throwing that in there because we do have 722 people watching live right now. We would greatly appreciate it if you would go ahead and hit that thumbs up. How many do we got? We're over 528. You guys have almost you've almost done a good enough job. 17 people hate us. That's fine. I don't know why you're subscribed to the channel or why you're here if you hate us that much. But thank you, Robbie. We appreciate that. The Sammy P for 5, 7 and 5. Here we come. I want to scream all the words at my TV still, but at least the fans had passion tonight and didn't just sigh and leave. Yeah, good. That's a good point. Matthew Williams for 5. Why didn't Milton cut in on that final play and use his size to try to run over someone or hope for some blockers? That was frustrating. He should have never ran it. Once he scrambled out of the pocket, he should have just thrown the ball up.
He got to like the 5-yard line, did he not?
Yeah. I don't know. Was he that far down? I think
he got to like the 5-yard line. So, yeah.
Cut it back. Make a play.
How do you just know the clock's running and you just run out of bounds?
Lazily. It was very lazy. Almost like
I'm done with Joe Milton.
Well, and that brings up this question because the chat was talking about it earlier. We'll go ahead and bring it up and talk about it. Now we're caught up on Super Chats. I'll try to get your Super Chats on screen now if I can. We'll try to stay on top of them, but we got so many people watching the chats fast, which is awesome. We appreciate you guys showing up, hanging out at 1 o'clock in the morning. But a lot of people were talking about earlier with Joe Milton. If Hendon Hooker can't go, you going Joe Milton or are you going Harrison Bailey next week?
I know who it'll be.
Joe Milton.
It'll be Joe Milton. But I wouldn't play him. I'd play Harrison Bailey. Give him a shot. I've seen one I need to see out of Joe Milton. It ain't there. It just isn't. And that I was really pulling for him, man, to get that done. And I thought honestly where they were at would have played into his cannon of an arm that he could have, maybe somebody would have gotten just a hair of the bit open and he could have rifled one in.
That throw to Tillman was close, man. It was close. Real close.
And I mean, he couldn't have thrown it any lower. It would have been picked. But 2 seconds left and you run and then lazily run out of bounds.
You got to be smarter than that. You have to be smarter than that.
I don't disagree that Milton gives Tennessee a better chance than Bailey. I think he does, but still yet, man. That you can't do that to end the game. Not when you got a chance to win the game. Not with that arm. Not if somebody could have just broke free for a minute. You can rifle it in. And it's inexcusable. That's just, I don't know if that's lack of awareness. Surely to goodness, he knew what the clock was.
Good Lord, you would hope. You would hope you know the situation you're coming into.
I mean,
what is he, a redshirt junior? You got to know where you're at.
If he thought he had a chance to run it, that's fine. And I probably wouldn't have had as much of an issue if he would have cut it back across the middle and tried to bulldoze his one. The fact that he ran it down and just lazily stepped out of bounds.
Lazily.
That's pathetic.
That's
pathetic.
He stepped out like it was 2nd and 7, and he ran out after picking up 6 yards.
And maybe he gives them a better shot than Harrison Bailey. Harrison Bailey's at least throwing that ball in that situation. You got to get it to the end zone. I'm probably fueling the fire, but
no, I'm just laughing. Call it. No, you're like, I know people are going to attack me in the chat and be like, "Oh, Milton, blah blah blah, Boogie loves Milton, whatever." I honestly don't know who I would start next week if Hooker's not healthy. I hope Hendon Hooker's healthy. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Calling UT for 2. This is what I was laughing at. Dude that threw the golf ball better than Milton. Hey, at least he threw it. Yeah. At least he uncorked it, right? Philip Scow for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Says we need to demand accountability of these refs. Yes, I'm still on that. I don't know that we're ever going to get that. I really don't know that we're ever going to get accountability. When it's on tape and you can show it to the SEC office and they do not care, I don't know what else you can do. Todd Hurley, thank you for becoming a member of the channel. You now have access to the custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. Also, you can join us for the tailgate show where you will have access to come on the show. Had a lot of fun an hour before kickoff today talking to some of the listeners. You know, we always talk about this being your show and for the fans, by the fans, all that stuff. I think we really show that on the tailgate shows. It's fun. I love having you guys on. We're going to do it again next week, an hour before the Alabama game, and a little teaser. I've not even told the Indy kid this yet. He doesn't even know. I'm just gonna throw it on him. A good friend of mine runs a YouTube channel. Just started it this year. He's an Alabama fan. He does the show with an Auburn fan. And you know, he asked for my opinion and my thoughts and how he could build his channel. And I've tried to give him some advice, try to help him. Good dude, even though he's an Alabama fan. We're going to bring him on. We're going to bring him on for the tailgate show. And also another buddy of mine. He's a comic book creator. Indy kid knows who he is. Going to bring him on. 2 Alabama fans for the tailgate show. We'll see what happens. We'll let you guys yell at him, cuss at him, whatever you want to do. But all the members of the channel, you have access to come on, hang out with us. So we appreciate all that support. Here's another super chat. Jordan Culberson for 5. Thank you for super chat. Says, who has more heat in Knoxville, Lane Kiffin or Ron Wright? This is the greatest super chat of all time. I don't know if anybody but myself and the Indy kid and maybe a handful of people know who Ron Wright is. Holy cow. Jordan Culberson. Why have I never seen your name? I love that super chat. Ron Wright. Ron Wright definitely had more heat start, although Lane Kiffin almost started a 1960s, 70s type riot tonight. Felt like some old school wrestling. But Ron Wright definitely had more heat in Knoxville. That's a great super chat. I love that. I love that super chat. Love it. That's good stuff. Man, nobody appreciates that like myself and the Indy kid. Good stuff there. Indy kid, what else you want to talk about? Oh, no, some other people are getting it. Ron Wright in the figure 4. Wayne Starnes enjoying that super chat as well. I'm glad some people know who the Wright brothers are. Ron and Don Wright, legends, East Tennessee wrestling.
I think you're Tennessee. I think I'm just curious how the fan reaction at the end is going to impact them, even if at all, in recruiting. You know, they're going to get slandered for it. That sucks because it was a cool night. I mean, they kept saying on the telecast, the announcers kept really going on about how that atmosphere was, how this is SEC football. This is how it should be. And then I hope it didn't just totally negate the experience at the end, because there was a lot of recruits. But, maybe at some point Tennessee can what they're doing right now, I still think they're kind of overachieving a bit. I think that, they were showing Ole Miss's schedule. Ole Miss could end the regular season with 1 loss.
Yep.
So, the fact that they had a chance at the end to beat them, as injured as they are, without as much depth as they have, that says a lot about what this coaching staff's doing. And, they need to tie some things up. And I love Mike Eckler. He'll clean that unit up. You know that guy's going to be up probably in an hour or two, going out running about 10 miles, blowing some steam off. He'll get them fixed. But you got to like what this coaching staff's doing. It sucks that they lost. We can blame the refs. We can blame whatever. It was just the perfect storm. Tennessee lost, but I'm excited to see what this coaching staff can do when they get depth, when they continue to get players. And it may take a couple years because they're going to lose some good players after this year who are super seniors. They're going to lose some guys who can probably come back next year, but they may decline. They may go and go pro. Got to like what's going on down there. And it may not show up next week. It may not show up for the next few weeks. But I think worst case, this team is 6-6 at the end. They'll get a bowl game. and I think they'll at least finish 7-6. And who knows? Maybe they get one they're not supposed to. Kentucky would be the target for that.
Bradley
but
Dover,
I mean, if Ole Miss
is Bradley Dover, you talking about Hendon Hooker? If Hendon Hooker has a torn ACL, the rest of the season is going to be rough.
They can still get 6-6.
They can, yeah. There's no excuse for losing to South Alabama and Vandy. Sorry, I cut you off. I just saw that and it.
Now I kind of felt like I was on a ramble anyway, but I like what the staff's doing, and I think you got to be happy with it. Injuries are taking a toll, but they start getting more guys in. They're going to hit the portal hard. I have no doubt about that. Here in a couple of years, this staff, this continuity stays in line. We're going to start seeing results, and just going to take some patience along the way.
Another
unfortunately.
Hooker out for a year. I wonder if this is accurate or if it's just people talking in the chat. I'm concerned because he did not put any weight on it coming off the field. I'm very concerned. Boosted 931 says it is Bailey time. If Hooker, I'm done. I have absolutely zero faith in Milton against Vandy or South Alabama.
Agreed.
I think it's just unfortunate, man, because Hendon Hooker earned that job. You know what I mean? Like, what a good story. Tennessee 6-6 this year. IC86 says, that was kind of the goal. That's the thing, man. We talked about it. Probably since March. We've talked about what's your expectations? What does this team have to do? It's always kind of been 6 wins has kind of been the goal. But do you feel like the expectation has kind of risen just a little bit because of what this football team has done the last 2 weeks, putting so many points on Missouri, scoring 28 points right out of the gate against South Carolina? Do you feel like that kind of raised the bar? That's the thing. I'm so excited about this coaching staff. We talked about it in the tailgate show. I feel like this is a good coaching staff. They teach, they develop. I think Josh Heupel could possibly be the guy that brings Tennessee back. And I just don't want this fan base to bail out. 6 wins has kind of always been the goal for me. That's been the expectation. But I feel like some people have kind of elevated that. Some people were saying 9 wins before the season ever started. But after the last 2 weeks, people are expecting to, automatic win versus Ole Miss, automatic win versus Kentucky. And do you feel like expectations kind of got out of control?
No, I think they were winnable games. And Kentucky is still winnable. Well, it's going to depend on who the quarterback is. Tonight was winnable. I mean, it was winnable right down to the end. So I don't think so. And I think it's part of being a fan too. I don't think anybody should have to apologize for expecting Tennessee to win. Now, if you're expecting Tennessee to go beat Alabama or Georgia, you might be a little crazy, but expecting to win the rest of these games, it's just part of being a fan. And I don't have a problem with it. But, you win two games the way you did the last 2 weeks, then that's going to raise expectations a little bit.
Jordan Culberson for 2.
God,
maybe Terry Landell has more heat. I feel like I probably know who you are. Not many people would know the name Terry Landell, but I know that name when it comes to Knoxville wrestling. Toby Farley, are you in the chat? I know you're messaging me on Facebook right now. I can't respond to your messages on Facebook while live on the air. What is going on, Toby? What's going on here?
Okay. I didn't know if it was me or if it was Boogie.
What the heck happened? I got like 14 boogies in the chat. I got completely kicked off the stream. Now we're back. We're rocking and rolling. We're having a good
I
time.
wasn't sure if it was my feed or yours. I was sitting there and I saw myself blinking. So I was like, okay. And then people start saying, take it, Andy. Boogie's froze.
No, I saw it happen too. I was like, what the heck happened, man? I thought for sure my internet was down. I was like, what a great way to go out. Thank you, Jason. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be a part of the show. Glad to be back with you guys. All 700 of you still hanging out with us here at 1:30.
Hey, I was warming up. I was warming up on the sidelines. At least I wasn't taking off running. Yeah, I'm kind of like Hendon Hooker went out, and I guess I was freaking Joe Milton here.
Yeah, you came in and froze. What am I supposed to do, Boogie? You're the host of the show. I was so caught off guard by people talking about Terry Landell. I didn't know what was happening, man. I'm just trying to have a good time. Goodness gracious.
I just didn't know if it was my feed or yours because I should have started talking, and worst case, I was talking to myself.
I panicked and immediately went to the green room and took myself and you both off screen because I was like, if it's my internet, maybe I can get us off the screen so we're not looking like idiots. Yeah, IC86. We look like Ole Miss's defense. Faking injuries just disappeared immediately. Dylan Robertson for 5. Thank you for the super chat. It's funny when people say recruits don't want to come to Cincinnati because tonight I would flip that and say recruits will want to come even more.
Well, the bad thing you've already got, I'm seeing it on
Toby's
Twitter.
like Toby Farley. I'm here. It wasn't me, Boogie. We're talking about the Wright brothers, Toby. We're talking about Terry Landell. It's been a crazy night. Sorry, Indy kid. Go ahead.
You're starting to see your Pat 40s, probably your Wilkins, all these guys that love to troll Tennessee. They're going to have a field day out of tonight because 40 puts on here. Joe Milton literally runs out the clock, and it was by no means the most embarrassing thing of the night for Tennessee. Pitiful display by the petulant fan base. You got guys like that just they love it. And stuff like tonight cannot happen. I mean, Tennessee, I understand being upset, but why do Tennessee fans always got to take it to a point that's of embarrassment? And obviously, as Tennessee fans, we love this fan base. We love everything about it. But golly, man, sometimes you lose that. That's part of it. But once again, the damn fan base brings out all those who's just waiting to throw that gasoline on the fire. And, I don't care what 40 thinks either. I don't care what those guys, but they've got a lot of followers. And unfortunately, it's going to
be the narrative. It's going to be the narrative all week long. It's all we're going to hear during the first quarter of the Alabama game. It's all we're going to hear about. It's just watching that.
It sucks.
Those last couple of plays. I was texting another buddy of mine, and I was like, man, we deserve to win. We have been through so much, and it would be the ultimate 30 for 30. Lane Kiffin comes back to Neyland Stadium. All this nonsense with the fan base, the crap thrown on the field. Somehow Tennessee gets the ball back with 30 seconds left. They go down, score, win a touchdown, and we all ride off into the sunset in glory. But we are a cursed fan base. We're a cursed fan base. We can't. I felt like all week long I kept saying this is a turning point. How many times, Indy Kid, have we been here and done that? How many times has it been? Oh, Tennessee's finally ranked. They're playing Florida. It's a top 25 matchup. Drop the ball. Tennessee fights their way back. Big opportunity. Big, huge opportunity. It doesn't matter if it's Derek Dooley, Butch Jones, Jeremy Pruitt, Josh Heupel. Doesn't matter who it is. We've been here, done that. And that's why all week long, even though I picked Tennessee to win, I keep saying I don't feel confident. And I had that nervous energy to me all week, and it wasn't that 90s nervous energy where Tennessee's playing Florida and the SEC East is on the line. I had that nervous energy of mid 2000s Boogie, where it's like, it's an opportunity and I fully expect to fail because I've been here.
Well, yeah, I understand it. At the same time, we are playing the number 13 team, but I'm with you. I understand it. I mean, we talked about it a little bit on the pregame about all these big moments, and it just seems they can't get over the hump. But I'm not. I mean, I'm more upset over the moment of the night that has me the most upset is the scoop of the fumble and the touchdown. There was no whistle blown. The play was not stopped. I don't know how they justified overturning that. That's the one part of the night that has me more upset than anything. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I don't understand about tonight. Part of it was depth, injuries, and stuff. But, man, that play just really sucked because it was never blown dead. If it was blown dead, I understand it. You know, if there was question, that whistle never, ever blew. How are they going to explain? How do you explain that?
But how many times did that officiating crew huddle up because they couldn't figure out what to do or what to call? Like even on the safety, you know, the safety that Tennessee had, they huddled up for 2-3 minutes because they didn't know what to do. It's like they had no clue what to do the majority of the game, just flying by the seat of their pants.
There's people in the chat saying that whistle did not blow.
The referee that was right on top of it clearly stepped back with his hands up going, he never blew the whistle. The guy closest to the play never blew the whistle. How do you reward Matt Corral for giving up on a play? I don't know what happened. Why did all the other 10 players on Ole Miss's team continue to play, but Matt Corral quit? I don't know what Matt Corral heard. Nobody else heard it. He was the only one that quit.
He fooled the referees too.
And he got stripped of the ball, and it was a touchdown for Tennessee. I don't care what anybody says. That was garbage. That was a garbage call.
That's the one thing I have. I don't know, man. That's the one I have the biggest problem with. Was that you know, sometimes you go into your game plan, it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I don't know, man. It's like you said, you just get excited, you get hyped up, and it doesn't happen. I feel Tennessee could have, maybe should have won tonight. They didn't. It's another learning experience, but it's probably it may be a rough couple weeks coming up. And so, I mean, we might as well just settle in, especially if Hooker's out. We're going to see how much Hooker means to this team if he's out next couple. We're going to see why this team has been going. And I've seen some saying, well, we should have played Bailey. Come on, man. Hendon Hooker easily the top quarterback on the team. It's not even arguable. There's no evidence that says otherwise. We'll find out. And hopefully it's not the case that it's worse than it is. I haven't seen anything yet, and I've been trying to see if there's been anything saying he's out. So
saw some people in the chat saying that Heupel didn't comment on it, wasn't going to comment on it, which doesn't surprise me. So
yeah, I'm trying to pull it up for on Twitter. I see Danny White and the Chancellor both apologizing over the crowd.
It's not their fault. It's not their fault. That's the thing. They got to apologize and try to clear it up. It's not their fault. I do want to pull this comment up from Ali S. Says, let's remember this is year one. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It is. It's year one, and we are competing with a top 15 team. And I think we got to realize where we're at. That's why I kind of brought up earlier our expectations getting out of control because of the last 2 weeks. And yeah, I'll be the first to admit this channel, dude, we hype it up. We get excited. We get fired up when Tennessee has an opportunity. I'm going to make videos and I'm going to get excited. People have called me the ultimate Tennessee hype man. That's what I do. I get fired up. I get excited. That's why I sit up there about an hour and a half ago, completely depressed in my hallway because I always expect Tennessee to win. I always feel like they have a chance. That's like any kid said earlier, that's part of being a fan. That's part of being a fan.
It'd be nice at some point if somebody come in and made that statement in year one and got one of these wins.
Turn that corner.
It's hard, man, because it feels like in each tenure, each coach has had that opportunity. And who knows, maybe Tennessee gets one late. If Hooker's out, I still think 6-6, definitely. But Georgia and Alabama, I mean, I thought maybe Tennessee could put some points on them. After tonight, I've got my doubts on it. Don't feel real confident about Kentucky because Kentucky they're going to have one of the better defenses Tennessee's going to see this year. But yeah, it's year one. There's a lot of good things going on. It's going to take time. Cannot afford injuries that they're having. And it's just hard to recover from. But it's going to take a couple years to get this program really where they want it to be. And I don't know, man. It's kind of – it sucks, but I'm not just totally deflated by it either because it could have been worse when they were down 24-9.
Oh, yeah.
And they hung around. So
they could have got blown out. They could have got blown out.
Yeah, it could have went a couple different ways tonight. But
I'm going to go back to Ali S because I think this is a she. Whatever.
Ali S is probably –
well, I don't know. It could be Ali too. Whatever. I don't know what it is. Pitt and this game, we have a couple of plays go our way, we win. That's the frustrating part, though, right? Because the Pitt game, the Ole Miss game, they're toss-ups. And like you said, every coaching staff has kind of faced these games, and they've not got it done. And yes, it's year one. The expectation is 6 games. But how do you kind of show that you've arrived, right? You go win a game like Ole Miss. You go win a game like Pitt. But no, we continue to find ourselves losing those games. And I'm excited, man. I like Josh Heupel. I like this coaching staff. I'm excited about the future. But now it's kind of like, well, let's wait and see. We got to wait and see. We got to see how he does recruiting. We got to see how he does patching the holes. Cade Mays, very likely to go to the NFL. Can you fill his shoes on that offensive line? The offensive line is a disaster with the Mays brothers out. It's a disaster.
Well, you think about it, what they lost in the offseason.
There you go.
Wanye Morris and Jameer Johnson. And, yeah, I thought it was Ali. So you think about it with losing those 2 guys. You throw in the Mays brothers as well. And obviously, Morris and Johnson are gone and not a factor now, but they just do not have the depth on this offensive line. I'm really kind of surprised they didn't hit the portal for offensive line help. Also, they're going to have to hit the portal after this year for offensive line help. You've got I like what they've got committed for offensive line. I think they've got some really good prospects in the fold for it, but, I don't know how much you can rely on a freshman to come in the SEC on the offensive line and provide that big help that you're going to need. Hopefully Jerome Carvin comes back next year. I don't know what his stock is. I think he's a guy that will play in the NFL. So, if him and K. Mays both leave after this year, they're going to have to hit that portal for offensive line help. And you, of course, just to plug it, Boogie's drops videos this week about potential guys that maybe Tennessee could add that would help at linebacker and on the offensive line. Going to need them.
The transfer portal is going to be key. We've talked about it. We've over and over and over. Seems like every week we bring it up and talk about how Heupel's struggling with the class of 22. He's going to have to continue to build through the transfer portal. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm excited. Like, don't get it twisted. I know a lot of people kind of coming at us in the chat saying it's year one and all that stuff, and it's just one of those games. I wanted to win, man. I wanted to win. I feel like this team needed a win. I feel like this team deserved to win. I feel like this team has bought in. They did not quit. Electric atmosphere in Neyland Stadium. This team never quit. Like you said, down 24-9. They could have folded, and they fought till the very end and had an opportunity at the very end of the game to go win this football game. But it just seems like for the fans, it's like talking about Lane Kiffin. People talking about Lane Kiffin and saying, he's been gone, yada, yada. We don't forget. We remember Lane Kiffin. We remember what he did. We remember how he sent us down this spiral. And, a lot of factors played into it. A lot of things played into it. But Lane Kiffin was a big factor into why we are where we are. And this was a big one, man. And I wanted to win it. But once again, just disappointment. At the end of the night, just disappointment.
Yeah, but I'm curious to see how this team recovers from it. It's not going to get any easier next week, going down to Alabama. So how does this team recover? Do they come out and do they keep it somewhat competitive, or they just get blown out of the building? Look at what Alabama did to Ole Miss. Is it going to be similar? It could be bad next week, especially depending on what the injuries are.
I think that's going to wrap it up for this one. We're almost an hour and a half in. We typically try to keep it at an hour, but you guys very supportive. A lot of super chats. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Almost 600 people still here. Almost 2:00 in the morning. We appreciate all the support. Even all 20 of you that hate us. You're still here. You're still watching. You hit the thumbs down. That's fine. But if you like what we do, if you enjoy the content, hit that thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you click that bell for notifications so you don't miss out when we go live, when we drop new content. We got Talkin VAWLS merch. Go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. The link to all that's in the description below. You can also give us a follow. Personal accounts, the Talkin VAWLS account, I'll scroll them across there right now. Give us a follow. Show us some support. We appreciate you guys just hanging out with us. Quick reminder, there's going to be a ton of content coming your way this week. The Indie Kid is going to drop the day after video in just a few hours. It's already the day after.
Yeah, I might as well just go ahead and record it.
Yeah, go ahead and record it now. But the Indie Kid's going to take a brief little nap, and then he's going to drop the video. He's going to take some time to sleep on it. But if you guys enjoy what we do, if you dig what we do, man, just great support that you guys show the channel. Share the videos. Like if you see it on Twitter, retweet it. You see it on Facebook, share it. Hit that thumbs up, hit the heart, whatever. Any and all support greatly appreciated. But just thanks for hanging out. We're just regular dudes. It's crazy. Like went to a high school football game last night, and a girl we go to church with came up to us and was like, "Yeah, I hear your voice about twice a week in my house. My husband and my son listen to your show," and it's like. It's just so weird, man, but it's awesome. We appreciate the support. We thank you. We're just regular dudes. If you see us on the street, if you see us at the gym, if you see the Indie Kid at a brewery, come up, say hi, hang out. Let's talk a little ball. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. Reminder, like I said, Indie Kid dropping the day after tomorrow. Tons of videos coming your way. Live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Also Saturday, Alabama game. We're going to do a special tailgate show. Going to have an Alabama podcast on. We're going to have an Alabama fan on. We're going to have the listeners on. Should be a good time. Should be. I hope you guys stay energetic. I hope you guys stay behind this team. But any final words before we wrap this thing up and get out of here?
No, it's nap time. I'll wake up here in about an hour and record the day after, I reckon. So,
sounds great. Hope to see you guys. Like I said, Tuesday night, Saturday pregame, Saturday postgame. But it's gonna wrap it up. He's the Indy Kid. I'm ready for bed. Good Lord, I'm so sleepy. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.
The songs how like me, poets at an arcade, soaking moonlit falls, unbroken past this inundated orb that we call